woman diagnosed with severe chronic asthma, told she'd need lifelong injections, and was on life support after a mold exposure, was declared cancer-free and tumor-free after less than 3 weeks of drinking an herbal tea. We're exploring claims of dramatic healing with specific plant remedies, according to testimony compiled by Tom Brown. Daniel, how do these testimonies defy conventional medical understanding?
William, the stories Tom Brown shares are certainly extraordinary, starting with his own family. He recounts how his parents were skeptical of his claims about these plants, chaparral and yerba santa. His mother was heading to a nursing home, suffering from neuropathy pain, bulging discs, and rheumatoid arthritis. She began drinking Chaparral Bush tea, and within 3 days, she called him to say her pain was gone.
3 days? That's an astonishingly rapid turnaround for chronic conditions like rheumatoid arthritis and neuropathy. It's hard to reconcile that speed with typical medical timelines for managing such severe issues. Did she have any other medical interventions during that time?
According to Tom, she weaned herself off a high dose of gabapentin in 27 days after starting the tea. Her recovery then prompted Tom's father, who had chronic bronchitis and COPD, to try yerba santa mixed with chaparral. Tom says his father had no issues that entire winter, despite living near Lake Erie in Ohio. Years later, during a bout of COVID and a subsequent upper respiratory illness, yerba santa was given to him again and reportedly sped up his recovery after he had stopped using it for some time.
Those are significant personal anecdotes, but the most dramatic story comes from Shannon. Can you detail her experience with asthma and then with cancer, which sounds almost unbelievable?
Shannon's account is indeed profound. Diagnosed with asthma since birth, she was 27 when a mold exposure caused her lungs to nearly collapse. She ended up on life support, and doctors removed 13 strains of mold from her lungs. She was told she'd need Xolair injections every 3 weeks for the rest of her life to manage severe chronic asthma and lung disease. Without these injections, her life would be in danger. Her life changed drastically. She wasn't allowed to wear makeup, use cleaning chemicals, lift her children, or even tolerate the smell of food.
That's a profoundly restrictive and debilitating diagnosis. What happened when she couldn't afford the required medication?
When she lost her Medicaid and couldn't afford the $4,500 per shot, her breathing worsened. Her father called her about yerba santa, which a friend suggested could heal her lungs. She tried a tea made from the leaves. The very next morning, after just 1 cup, she reported feeling great, making bacon and eggs for her husband, an activity she previously couldn't do. Within days, she noticed a significant difference in her breathing. She's now nearly 4 years out, no longer drinks it daily, and hasn't had an asthma attack.
That turnaround from a critical lifelong condition to full recovery with a plant tea is certainly a striking claim. But her story doesn't end there, does it? There's the additional account of ovarian tumors and a thyroid cyst.
No, it doesn't. After her lungs improved, she sought to have ovarian tumors, present since before the mold incident, removed. Doctors confirmed they were still there and had a high chance of being cancerous. She also had a cyst on her thyroid. Her father again suggested another plant from Tom, Chaparral Bush. She drank 12 cups in 3 days. When she arrived for surgery 18 days later, the anesthesiologist questioned if her medical records were correct. Tests were run, and 18 hours later she was walking out of the hospital, reportedly cancer-free, tumor-free, and with the thyroid cyst gone.
To go from confirmed tumors and cysts with a high likelihood of cancer to entirely clear in less than 3 weeks, simply by drinking a tea, challenges every known medical process. Doctors would typically require extensive follow-up and verification of such a radical change. This sounds less like a medical miracle and more like a narrative that outright rejects established medical understanding.
It's presented as a testament to the plant's effects. Tom also includes a testimony from Wanda, who was initially skeptical of natural herbs. She was taking 18 pills a day for diabetes, high blood pressure, and shingles, with an A1C of 9.7 and blood pressure at 164/101. She started with a 1/4 cup of yerba santa tea, then added chaparral tea a week later. Within 2 weeks, she noticed increased energy in shingles blisters drying quickly.
And her doctor's reaction?
At her 3-month appointment, both she and her doctor were shocked. Her A1C had dropped to 8 and her blood pressure had fallen. She realized she hadn't had a shingles breakout in 6 weeks. She's now nearly a year into this regimen, taking only 3 pills a day, with normal blood pressure and an A1C below normal.
These are powerful personal accounts, but what exactly are these plants? Chaparral, for example, is identified as Larea tridentata. What are its known properties and uses, according to Tom Brown's information?
Chaparral is a perennial evergreen shrub, growing up to 9 feet tall, found in northern Mexico and the American Southwest. It's notably drought-resistant and has a strong smell. Interestingly, after a nuclear test bomb in Yucca Flats, Nevada in 1962, chaparral was one of the first plants to grow back. Tom lists a vast array of conditions for which it's used, from abscesses, allergies, and arthritis to cancer, diabetes, and tumors. Its physiological effects are described as alterative, antibacterial, anti-inflammatory, anti-tumor, and antiviral, among others.
That's an incredibly broad spectrum of applications, suggesting it's almost a panacea. The text also mentions the body's pH and alkalinity in relation to health. How does this connect to chaparral's supposed benefits?
The information suggests that a slightly alkaline body with an ideal pH of 7.4 is necessary for proper cellular oxygenation. Many illnesses are associated with acidic body conditions and toxin accumulation. The implication is that these plants, perhaps by influencing pH or detoxification, address these root causes.
Given the dramatic claims, what about the safety and potential side effects of chaparral? Are there any medical warnings or controversies surrounding its use?
Yes, there is. In 1992, warnings were issued regarding possible liver toxicity linked to chaparral use. However, later sources stated there wasn't sufficient evidence to confirm those claims, and sales resumed. Still, potential sensitivity symptoms include nausea, vomiting, dark urine, abdominal pain, or yellowing of the eyes or skin. If these occur, use should be stopped immediately. Excess amounts may also be harmful to the liver, kidneys, and lymph system. It's specifically cautioned against for pregnant and nursing women, and people with diverticulitis should strain the tea.
Those are very important caveats, underscoring the need for extreme caution. How is the tea typically prepared, and what are the general recommendations for consumption?
The recommended method for chaparral tea is to place about half a cup of leaves into a quart jar with room temperature water and let it sit overnight. Boiling water may damage its essential nutrients. You can also steep a pinch or sprig in hot water for 15 to 20 minutes. The text advises starting slowly and paying attention to how your body responds, because strong tea can create temporary detoxification side effects.
Ultimately, what's Tom Brown's final message regarding these powerful plants and their use?
His final disclaimer is that he's not a doctor. He urges people to make their doctor aware of what they're doing, especially if on medications, and to do their own research. He emphasizes that the stories are personal experiences, not from actors.
The testimonies shared here certainly offer a fascinating, albeit controversial, perspective on natural healing. If you found this discussion thought-provoking, please share this episode with someone who might benefit from hearing it.